Hey guys, it's your buddy Choppadong here, and I'm going to briefly discuss a couple of things since we're brand new. We're started with MLB again this year. Lots of contests, lots of volume, lots of casual players are really jumping all over this place, so it's easy to find a lot of selection for your lineups. I'm going to give you a quick tip when it comes to the 20 max tournaments in DraftKings. You can play those full-blown MME like you would the mini max and everything else. There's nothing stopping you from going from this 20 max to that one, to that one, to that one, to that one, entering five of them and creating 100 different lineups and then dumping it in all five. You just need to be good at CSV editing and whatever else. And you can still cover just as many bases as you would in a 50 cent or a dollar mini max and instead play the dimes if you're on a smaller bankroll, or if you just enjoy playing smaller like I do. But let me show you a couple of little tricks with the quarter contest as well, because if you've seen us talk about contest selection and maybe a little bit of analysis of the contest structure, let's kind of dive in and talk a little bit about which ones may be more advantageous. I like the Dime Time, the bigger 3,000 player tournament, not because with 20 lineups, 20 here and 20 here, I can only put 40 lineups in there. I still don't have the control of a 3,500 person contest like I would like. Remember, I've said 20 lineups divided by 35, what was it? 35 what? I've already forgotten. 3567 only gives us a half of 1% share or control of that player pool. Mathematically, there's just no advantage to filling out all 20 lineups or firing a single bullet. Okay, so don't worry about shooting single bullets into those things. The sharks that are filling out 20 lineups don't really have an advantage over you in that particular contest. What you're looking for is smaller contests. Like if we put 20 max in the 1189, if I put 20 in the 1189, I'm going to get a bigger control, 1.6, 1.7% share of the player of the lineups in that pool. I'm shortening the player pool to just my lineups. I'm getting more market share, if you will, which gives me a better chance to win if I produce quality lineups. This is where the sharks start taking advantage of you. Anytime they start going over about 1%, that's where the sharks want to jump in to those. They want to control as much of the player pool as they can. Again, they don't have much of a mathematical advantage over you in a larger contest, 3, 4, 5,000 people, when you can only put 20 lineups in there. But when it starts getting smaller, 1,000 and under, they do. And so you want to watch those. If you're just firing single bullets, it could be very tempting to come down here to the quarters contests. And granted, the quarter jukebox, 7,000 players, 35,000 players, that's not going to matter. Firing a single bullet, fire in 20. It doesn't matter. Okay, it's not going to lose any kind of a significant mathematical edge. It's like buying one lottery ticket versus buying 150 Powerball tickets. Well, the odds are so many hundreds of millions or billion to one chance that you're going to win. You're not gaining much advantage, maybe a numerical advantage, but not a mathematical advantage in buying up all of those tickets and trying to win the Powerball. Same concept applies here to these larger MME contests. But if you come down here, you can see, I'm maxing these things out. I'm doing exactly what everybody else does. You can put 14 lineups in this 475. Okay, see the 14 up here at the very top? So if I put 14 lineups into a 475 man competition, I now control 3%, 2.9%, 2.95 if we round out two more, which the 5 rounds up, as we learned in third grade math, 3%. So I control a large block by maxing this one out at 14 lineups. If you fire in just one single bullet, you are at a mathematical disadvantage here. Okay, so if I come down and I max those particular contests out, that's fine. The next one down the line would be a 7 max in the 237. Okay, so I take the 7 divided by 237, 3% again. Hang on one second. Sorry about that, guys. Had somebody knock on my door. The 7 max at 237 is also 2.95% or 3%. So what I want you to do is start paying attention to these types of competitions as you're entering them, because it matters in some cases. Watch this one. There's another good one. These micro boosters. Top 10 win $10, or a 237 man top 5 win $10. Which one's better? Let's do the math. In this top 10, It's actually only a 10 max. Does that matter mathematically? Well, it can. Remember, 3% at the 475 player 14 max, so 10 divided by 475 is now only a 2% share. So you've dropped from a 3% to a 2% share. While that may not sound like much to you, it is somewhat significant. Now, if you drop from 0.5% to 0.25%, not that big of a deal. But if I have the ability to play a contest where I can get 3% market share, why would I play one where I can only get 2%? So I go looking. If I come down here to the other micro booster, 5% or top 5 win $10, same diff. It's a 7 max though. So again, 7 divided by 237 is 3%. I would play this one and take the $5 before I played the bigger one, even with 10 lineups. I can enter several of these. The volume is there. I can enter all of them if I want to. Now, what does it take to win a 237-man competition? Well, to win, you take 231 divided by 237, first place, and you take a top, 0.4% lineup to win it. So top half of 1%, roughly, and you've got a shot. If you can produce a top half of 1% lineup in a 300,000 person nickel over on DraftKings or on FanDuel, or in the Minimax here, you can do it here too. It's the same lineup. The same lineup is going to hit the same basic strength as long as you're not playing a 3-man or a 5-man or even a 100-man. If you're playing 3, 4, 500-man tournaments, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 person tournaments, a 1% lineup strength is going to be in the top 1% in any of those contests. If not, it's going to be very close to it because you've got enough other players, enough competition in that contest to kind of spread everything out, ruins the volatility. It balances out the outliers, if you will. That's why if you're playing head-to-heads, you need to take volume. You need to play more than just 5 of them or more than just 10. You can still get screwed and put together a really strong lineup and just get unlucky in who you match up against and lose money that night, okay? Or you can get lucky and win money that night. It works both ways. But what we're looking at for these bigger competitions, is we're trying to mitigate some of that risk. I want the true strength of my lineup to land where it should across the industry in general. And by doing that, I need to produce a top half of 1% lineup to have a shot at winning this particular tournament. However, I get 5 places in this tournament. So when I take 5 divided by 237, because even 5th place works, right? Anything over, now I just need a top 2% lineup. I'm going to produce more top 2% lineups than I am top half of 1% lineups, more than top 10th of 1% lineups where you really start to unlock the money in the bigger GPPs. And in some cases, to win the 500,000 person nickel, my God, you need a top 1/10,000th of a percent lineup or something crazy like that. So I'm just increasing my chances of winning money. Yes, my payout is only $10. It's not, $10,000. But I also don't need to produce the nuts tonight. I'm going to produce, if I get good at producing top 1% lineups, that's it. If that's my focus, I can be deadly in this industry. Yes, if I stay in the really, really big GPPs, I mean, I'm still rolling the dice. I'm still playing a lottery ticket. But if I play in these smaller competitions, yeah, that's where I'm going to really start realizing my skill. Okay, this is where I'm going to make most of my money. So is just going to make it in smaller increments. I'm just going to do it more often. I'm also going to feel better about myself and feel better about my skill here as well. So 5 out of 237 is a top 2% lineup. What is top 10 out of 500 whatever? It's the same as putting in 10 lineups. So it's 2.1%. So a top 2% lineup there wins. So again, top 2% lineup in this 475 gets paid. Top 2% gets paid in the 237-man competition as well. However, I've got more market share in this competition right here. I've got 3% market share where I've only got 2% market share here. Hopefully this is making sense to you. Now I come up here to these bigger competitions, and what does it take to win, the dime time? Well, how many people cash in the dime? I wish it would call up here. So 277 out of 1189. This is where you start doing the math, right? 23.3%. Okay, so I can produce a lot more 23% lineups than I can 2% lineups, right? But so what is a 1% lineup going to do? Well, that's 1189, obviously, times 0.01 times 1%. It's going to be 11th, 12th place, right? What does 11th place do for me? That's a 1% lineup, and it gives me 75 cents on the dime, 7.5x. Where if I take that same lineup and put that in the booster, I win 10 bucks. That's 10 bucks on a quarter as opposed to, so it's, what is 10 bucks on a quarter? About 12x, maybe a little more. My math might be really, really bad there, but it's better than 7.5x. 7.5x on a quarter is not quite $2, right? So gosh, it's even more than that. So it's a good return on your money. Is it as good as 10 bucks on a dime and getting 100x for winning the dime? No. So you're going to want to balance these things out and spread them around. So if I play 20 maxes in the dimes, and then in the quarters I max out the sevens and the 50, and then I play the boosters, and I play the smaller 500 man GPPs and whatever, and I spread those out, I can make 100, 200, 500, 600 lineups if I want to. And then from there, as long as I get good at taking stands, getting leverage, covering my bases, I don't know exactly which contest I'm going to win or which contest I'm going to place really well in on any given night. But again, I'm treating it as a portfolio. I'm treating it as a broad-based attack plan. And I can then take these competitions and I can flip them on their heads, where you're only firing a single bullet or maybe 3 or 4 or whatever, and all these casual guys are not multi-entering these things. See, like these guys right here, the kid, he's an experienced player and he only threw one lineup in there. One lineup, one lineup, one lineup, not experienced guy. These guys are multi-entering, but they may not have maxed it out because people don't. I look back into the past of these tournaments, and I mean, not as many people max these things out as you think do. A lot of people are firing 1 and 2 bullets into these things. So you can gain the advantage when you can gain the market share. You can gain the advantage in these tournaments and have more success in them and take advantage of the people that don't know the math. That's some of the stuff that we teach you here at dfsarmy.com as well. Where should you be sticking your money? Hopefully today you've seen a little bit on a smaller budget where you can start sticking your money, tip the scales in your favor a little bit, and maybe start building a bankroll so that you can start moving up into the other competitions. Because believe me, the guys at $5, $10, $20, there are a lot of casual people that play those competitions. But the sharks, the guys that are pseudo professional at DFS, they know this. They know this advantage, and I just shared it with you. Hopefully that helps. Take care, guys. We'll be back a little bit later, and we'll talk about the slate tonight. When some of the tools and stuff at DFS Army populate, and we can use some of the research to show you how we might target a game plan for tonight, use the optimizer, etc., and set it up. That's what we'll get into next. But I just wanted to show you this while the season is new, where you can gain your leverage and where you can put your money smartly, because that's what's going to keep you around in this game long term. Take care, guys. Talk to you real soon.